It's a very brief presentation. I'm not going to go to the pedestal. It reflects a lot from the previous ENOG in Kazan city with one update, which is in the following. What we expected in Kazan has already happened, partly. Yesterday, in this room, during our last session, we have such an activity which is called the creation of working groups in the framework of the ENOG. These working groups are like interest groups that allow people to resolve the issues between the sections of the ENOG. During ENOG, we see each other in person, we can look at each other, but between the sessions, between the conferences, in between our meetings, it also makes sense to keep our contacts ongoing, those to discuss the issues that result from the discussions here or elsewhere, to find some common decisions in the electronic communication, via electronic communication. To make this possible, we started such a thing as a working group. What do we discuss then? Nobody's going to steal each other's bread or steal commercial secrets. The thing is that there's a set of questions which does not regard the main operations of a company, which do not represent any competitive advantage, but are nevertheless important for the business operations, and which you can share without any consequences, bad consequences for the business, with your colleagues. So I mean, these things happen anyway, but usually the circle of people who are in the corridor. But here, usually, you can discuss these things on a wider audience range. Therefore, I'll bring it back. Therefore, if you've got any idea that there is a certain circle of questions that would be nice to discuss in this format, and you think that these discussions can be regular, you can create a working group yourself. This is not what is being given for granted, like a program committee or the organizational committee of the ENOG figures out these working groups. No, this is what you do, bottom to top, bottom up movement. If there is some kind of, let's say, a local Ukrainian-based topic, let's say, for example, how we resolve the issue with the last mile, conditionally speaking, then respectively you can form such a working group. There is a clean process for that, there's a clean order for that. If you need rules, you formulate them. If no, then you're going to have MMA, and then you send it to a program committee. Therefore, the program committee will assess this, because you need to allocate resources to this problem. Like, you receive either yes or no, but we won't be strict in this regard. It's not a court, just a general assessment. And then it would be nice if you would preliminarily share your ideas with the community, not with the program committee, but with the community, in a general mailing list, or maybe during some in one of the ENOG during the session you will announce that you would like to start public discussion on such a problem, and if your problem actually collects people during one of the panel discussions, then yes, it will be clear that this topic is worth creating a working group for. Now we have two working groups. One has been created and it's operational. These instruments are working there. There are 20 persons who participate in it. It's the working group on legal aspects. But since the legislation of Russia and Ukraine differ, but still there are some common questions. We didn't divide Russian and Ukrainian questions. If need be, we will divide these questions into Ukrainian and Russian-based legal issues, but it's not needed as yet. So far we have a general legal issues working group. There are experts there from Russia and Ukraine. There is a respective mailing list. There is a archive. There's an archive for it, and I think Wikipedia is also there. So in order to, if something is born as a result of the activities of the working group, the Wikipedia will fix that. The issues are listed on the slide. The next working group, which is being created now, we need to realize who will be the driving force behind this working group. There are several persons that we would like to call into it, but we haven't discussed this. Who wants more or who wants less to participate in this working group as a driving force? It's a purely technical working group, if need be. As an example, for instance, several months ago there was a burning discussion on IPv6 in the general mailing list. After this, it was clear that the technical issues should be taken out from it, and we realized that we should dedicate a working group to this. If inside the working group there will be such issues that will require, they will be locked upon themselves, we will separate them so that people can discuss only them, and when there are less letters, it's easier to follow, it's easier to find something, and so it is easier to better structurize. But so far all the technical issues are here. So there are 2 general working groups, and there is not a working group but more of a commission, how to say, I don't know, Anton will give a name to it, dedicated to discussing, well, you speak about it. It's going to be, we will create this a commission on discussing informational materials, where we will be discussing those materials which we publish in Russian language in the ENOG framework. This could be partly translated documents, materials that are created. Maybe you heard that now there was the localized SOC initiated the translation of the ATF journal. Maybe certain articles from the IP journal will be translated, and they'll be available in Russian language, so that it will be easier for us to read these materials. Quite often, maybe in the future, this will turn into some activities with drafting our own articles in Russian language and further their translation into English. Well, I think it's worth mentioning that we've got a central mailing list, discussenog.org. Who is subscribed to Discuss? Well, much less than half. Well, it's bad, because all the announcements on working groups, they are sent to Discuss mailing list. All the messages regarding the planned events, not from RIPE NCC only, but from other organizations and agencies, they are in the ENOG Discuss. In the ENOG Discuss, we regularly send the information as to the amendments that are being prepared as regarding the regulations of RIPE. Colleagues, just for you to understand, I'm totally sure that everybody in this audience speak freely in English, but if in the morning, for example, you woke up and somehow forgot the English language a little bit, and then you need to look at something, then obviously you will be searching for Russian language materials. And in the Discuss regularly, on a very simple Russian language, in the Russian language, there are materials that speak about initiatives of RIPE and what's going to be voted on. This is useful to know, because really that the big RIPE is going to vote, it means that you are going to vote. I mean, that's what it means. I mean, I'm reminding you, if you are an LIR, you vote. Even if you don't know about it, and if you don't vote physically, you voted still. Huh? That's why it's much smarter to be following the activities and use the voting right. No one is taking it away from you, even if you don't use it. Then it's better than just ignoring and then be surprised that certain regulations were changed. I do not understand why this took place. I do not know what's going on. Well, you can follow this. It's not hard, because there are not that many initiatives or amendments or activities. You know, I don't think I think it's a monthly based update. It's very easy. Yes, because usually we update 1 or 2 initiatives on regulations that Marcus spoke about yesterday. I mean, today in the morning. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm confused now between the days. It's not hard to read that stuff. It takes like 3 minutes, but it contains a lot of information at the same time. Also, the information that is published, not only by us, but also our colleagues, it's really relevant and useful. Plus, you can also send some kind of a letter. Well, colleagues, please subscribe for Discussing.org. It's tasty and useful. Yep, we have actually lighting topics. So if you have any questions or proposals, comments, anything else? No, nothing. Nobody. Colleagues. Well, I'm hearing that we are loved. I hope in a good sense. Well, colleagues, then let's finalize.